Been a while since we sat down and done one of these things. I think the last time we did
I think
it,
we're in the car, yeah. I think it was
that,
raining too, yeah.
With that same GoPro camera. It was raining. We're driving to New York.
Oh, that's right.
I think it was in the middle of winter too.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
Yeah, why not? Well, anyway, welcome to Legion. We are. So we're here with Jeff Reedy and Jason Collier, two of the founders. It's been a while. We, reminiscing about the times when we used to do these things in automobiles. We came out with carpool karaoke before it was a thing, right?
That's right. Yeah. Carpool podcast.
Yeah. So the whole point of doing a lot of this content I want to do for Legion is to actually get behind, kind of a little bit more behind the scenes of Scale and what makes Scale the company it is. And Jeff and I are vehement advocates of, at Scale we make products. We make our, HC3 products made of, tin, silicon, and software and all that exciting stuff. But what makes a company is the people. And, kind of really what I want to get with some of these, kind of employee interviews and things we're talking, to different folks in the organization about is really more, just a little more personal stuff about them. So with that, Jeff. So Jeff's the CEO. I'm one of the founders and kind of chief evangelist. And so when did you get your first computer and what was it?
I got my first computer for Christmas when I was in the third grade, and it was an Atari 800. It was quite epic, actually. With a real, I had the tape drive, of course, but I also had the legit floppy drive with that thing.
It had two cartridge slots, too.
It did, two cartridge slots, and sometimes if you had a cartridge in there and tried to load something, a bigger program, it would say, please remove the cartridge because this program requires all 48K of memory. I don't know how much the cartridge consumed, but apparently just physically having a cartridge in there consumed some memory. But, so my friends that had Commodore 64s were killing me on the memory with my lousy 48K, but it was an awesome computer. That's how I learned to program on that thing. So
I had the 400 with the membrane
with the membrane keyboard. Yeah, no, I had the real key. You only had one cartridge slot, and never in the history that I had that thing did I ever use both cartridges. I don't know what that was even for, but it had the big buttons on the side like start, select, option, like as though it were a Atari 2600, right?
Yep.
And then shortly thereafter, maybe a year after, is when I built my first PC, which was 8086.
Yep. Boy, those were fast. Then you had the 8088, the turbo version.
Yes. So then they had the turbo button, so you could actually slow it down in case it was running too fast. So.
Those were classics. So when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
An astronaut. I was going to be an astronaut, and then I was going to be a marine biologist. Then I was going to be a chemical engineer. And after I gave up on all that, I became a computer science guy, which I suppose was destined from the beginning. I don't know where my brain was and all that stuff in the middle, but when you start writing code in the third grade, you probably should have just rolled with it from the beginning. Yeah. But I had many aspirations for different things. Yeah. So.
I've never heard the astronaut one before.
That was the original. I was going to be an astronaut. I don't know. Do we even have astronauts anymore? I guess you got to be an entrepreneur to be an astronaut now. But
yeah. So how old were you when you realized that you were a nerd?
I would say probably Christmas morning in the third grade. I was all in, and I was a gamer before that. So on the 2600. So yeah, when I got that computer, that Atari, my dad had quite illegally, I am certain, photocopied a How to Program in Basic book that I think he had at the office or something, and so I would go through that book and teach myself to program, and then you remember what the heck was the name of that Compute magazine? It had snippets of code in there, and you could type it out. You'd do the whole thing, and I remember that Atari. One of
Pop the basic module in.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Then one of the issues was you had to remember to load the disk operating system, and so on multiple occasions I would like write a bunch of code and try to save it, and it would say no operating system found, and so the only way to load the operating system was to restart the computer, and so I would have to print out my code so I could go load the operating system and then type it all back in again. Anyway, luckily my programs weren't that long back then, but anyway.
I remember, I think the longest one I did on that, there was the code snippet that's like, oh yeah, program out the American flag, right? And it was like, and then you realize you're writing out all of the coordinate codes and the pixels and stuff like that. Like thinking 320 by 200.
Oh yeah, peek and poke. Oh Lord, and I still have somewhere in my house. I still have a disk with a program I wrote on there to create Dungeons and Dragons characters. So you wonder, when did I learn I was a nerd? I don't know. Obviously, very early. I'm using BASIC to program, auto-generate D&D characters. Yeah, but I still have that program somewhere.
And then I know you're a gamer because you and I have pretty much been gamer buddies in our guilds and stuff like that since we met. And so what are your latest gaming interests? What are you into?
It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. I mean, obviously, I don't have a ton of time to play games. We still play some Warcraft.
Yep.
We have guild night once a week. Yep. I don't make it very often, but I'm always there mentally, even though I may not always be able to get on. And then let's see. I don't know. I play a little bit of Overwatch on PS4. I play some NBA 2K.
Nice.
And of course, we both were into Red Dead Redemption 2, which was awesome. I did have to. I believe you did the same thing when the game came out. I actually took a day off and played about 18 hours.
I just really wasn't.
Red Dead Redemption.
I was feeling kind of sick that day. So.
Yes. I noticed you put in PTO, and I saw you online. So that
I noticed you followed shortly after.
Those are probably the recent ones I've been playing. So.
Yeah. Red Dead was a good game. If you haven't played that one, phenomenal.
Two thumbs up.
Fantastic story. Are there any hobbies that you really like to do, like not technology related?
I brew beer, so that's
that's a good one.
That's a good one. I play drums a little bit, very sporadically these days, but I just played a little bit 2 weeks ago or so, but tends to be kind of a once every 2 months kind of thing. I find time to do it, but I mean, as you and I have discussed, all good techies end up taking up instruments at some point.
Yeah.
Or the other way around.
Yeah, they've noticed that a lot, right? People that are into basically IT and technology, just so it's like it's mathematical, but it's like the art side of math, right?
Yes.
And it's interesting though. I think that applies both ways too. I think that's there's a lot of art that could be put into the science of the technology implementations.
I agree. That same side of the brain, if you believe in the two-brain thing, which I'm not even sure if that's legit or not, but whatever. It's there's certainly some kind of correlation between math, logic, and music. So
I would ask you how long you've been at Scale, but pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time, however long that's been.
I was
11 years.
11 years. It's also one of those weird things now where it comes around on like LinkedIn once a year, and it comes to that one time. Oh, congratulations for being. And it was like 11 years. It came up this year, and I'm like 11. I thought it was bad when it was 10. When it's like when you start measuring how long you've been around in decades. I guess we're not a startup anymore.
Well, I remember when we were in early business plan and sort of elevator pitch days, and I was given the elevator pitch to my kids as a bedtime story with like puppets to memorize it, and now I'm taking those kids to college, so it's obviously been a little while.
It's been a while. Definitely been a while. Well, Jeff, thanks for taking the time once again, getting to know us a little bit better, and we're going to have more and more employees on here as well, so that everybody who deals with Scale gets to know the people behind it. As I said, Jeff and I, we've got this mantra you know, kind of really the company is constructed of the people, right? We're in buildings, we're in, you know, we've got technology, we've got, you know, all those things, and the reality is it's really the people that make scale what it is, and really wanted to kind of give a chance to, you know, get to know a lot of those people better.
Awesome.
Right. Thanks.